What's up, my fellow collectors and collectorettes? This is my first post-TFCon Transformer review. Before we get started, I would just like to say thank you for reaching a small milestone. I've passed 100 subscribers. It's really good to know that people are actually enjoying these and want to know when I'm putting out more, even though it's been a really slow pace. So I just wanted to say thanks, and as a show of my appreciation, I'm going to do my best to really get a nailed down schedule for these reviews. So I'm going to try and make time and get a lot of stuff hammered out. I've got a lot of stuff planned that I want to review, so it's just a matter of getting it done. And now, onto this first post-TFCon Transformer review. This is the Transformers Universal Studios Evac. I know this setup is a little different. Usually used to seeing the card backs or blister or whatever the figure comes packaging in. In this case it's card back, I know that. I do not have it because this figure is a loaner. It came from my good friend Hanny, and which actually was a gift to him from one of his customers, which was really pretty cool. Anyways, I'm not really a big fan of the movie figures, but there's something different about this figure compared to all of the other movie figures that I've seen. My entire collection consisted so far of two what I call real movie figures. I had the Leader Sentinel Prime, which I actually gave that away to Hanny actually, and the Leader Bumblebee from this last movie, which is gonna go to one of my nephews because there's just no room for that crap in my collection. The aesthetics just don't appeal to me. It would take a really good paint job on those figures to bring out all the details to make me care, and it would take a lot more articulation and quality in the build. That's just not going to happen, so I'm just not interested. But anyways, back to what we're doing. This Evac is supposedly loosely based on the Universal Studios Transformers The Ride car, which has probably already been covered, but they've basically taken the design of the ride carriage car and turned it into a standalone separate unit. You may notice that this video is a little bit crisper than the previous ones, and hopefully the audio is a whole lot crisper too. I've made some changes in my setup. I have a new camera, which hopefully should make a huge difference in the way these are shot. I should be able to zoom in pretty good and maintain focus. Let's give that a shot. Something that I couldn't really do before. And you'll also notice that there will be transitions from one angle to another that are all synced in real time, and that's because I am still using my old camera as a secondary, so I'm actually filming two angles at once when I do these reviews. It's going to make for a lot more work in the editing, but actually this is something that I had planned on doing initially when I first started doing reviews, and I just didn't do it because it required a level of work in the editing that I needed to get comfortable with the editing software before I started juggling multiple frame inputs. But yeah, so here we are. Transformers Universal Studio Evac. It's pretty much all that you need to see for his alt mode. Nice little turbo thrusters back there. The blue and the green work out pretty well for me. I don't know why. This figure doesn't really have much going on in the way for detail, but as far as painted details go, but it really does work. The other carriage is pretty nice and clean. There's not too much unnecessary crap going on there. But anyways, let's get this thing transformed. System. And here we have Evac in his robot mode. Sorry about the struggling with the transformation. I wear these goggles that filter out the light when I record because I am susceptible to migraine headaches. They actually make the grays and the blacks and the blues all blend together with whatever spectrum of light they filter on, and it makes it real hard to see where things separate on him. So I was struggling a little bit, and I apologize. For a movie style inspired figure, I have to say Evac looks pretty good. Most movie figures seem to have terrible chicken legs. He doesn't have any of that. Most movie figures do not have a profile that provides good symmetry. Like, one thing that really bothers me with Transformers or any other toy is when the shoulder sits too far behind the hip. And with this figure, it's actually pretty much perfect. This is, you know, this is the way this should be laid out. The shoulder should sit just barely behind the hip. A lot of figures, you have shoulders that are way back here or way in front of the figure, and that really bothers me. He's got pretty good symmetry. He's got good proportions, very human-esque in his design and proportions, and it looks pretty good. And I can probably say proportions 4 more times in a sentence just to make it sound even more stupid. Anyways, articulation-wise, he's pretty good. He's got good hips, which provide, you know, all the movement that you'd want to see. He's got a thigh swivel, I believe. That's really tight. He's got a thigh swivel, but it's super tight. But yeah, there is a thigh swivel in there that's going to need some working out. Knees. He's got weird ankles. They're swivet ankles. Swivet. That's the second time I've said swivet in a review. They're swivel ankles. No, they're not. That swivel is just for show. I thought that was actual real swivel in there, but that's just for show. So basically, he doesn't have ankles. He's just got this hinge pin that flips over and locks it in place. I didn't realize that. There's no articulation in the waist because the waist is, the front of the waist is one solid piece, and then behind that, all of that backpack is all connected there together. Everything ball jointed arms, bicep swivel. Bicep swivel is nowhere near as tight as the hip swivel. There's only a single hinge in the elbow, but I mean, it gets the job done. It's not that bad. Get the figure standing up. The head is on a ball joint that is greatly impeded because what goes on here, let's take advantage of this new camera system, see what kind of focus we can get. Alright, there we go. So there's a ball joint in there, but it's really hard to take advantage of. Well, I guess while we've got him here, here's a close-up of his face. His face is about as movie as I can tolerate, but still tolerate it, and it's actually not bad. Obviously no dentist on Cybertron. No light piping on the figure that I can tell. The design of it says that it probably should have been light piped, because you see this yellow, it's actually all one painted piece. What appears to be one painted piece. Let's see if we can get in there. See that yellow in the back? That's all that single piece, so if that wasn't painted, they probably would have had light piping. Yeah, but all in all, Evac really isn't that bad of a figure. It's probably not worth the price tag, though. If you had to find your own, the last time I looked, which admittedly was a while ago, he was running about 60 bucks, and 60 bucks is too much to pay for a Hasbro Deluxe, even if it is an exclusive. But if you really want a complete movie collection, there'd probably be worse figures you could spend 60 bucks on. Also, while I'm here, this is one of the few figures where the design of the aesthetics that they put on there actually aren't affected that much by Hasbro's cost-cutting measures there by hollowing out plastic, because this whole design is supposed to be this kind of, you know, empty tubular bar emergency evacuation vehicle that also looks like a amusement park ride car. Well, anyways, that's all we got for Evac. I plan on doing at least 2 more reviews before I go to bed. That doesn't mean that they'll actually show up, because 2 reviews, it's still 2 more sets of editing. But I'm pretty sure that as soon as I press stop on this, I'll be dropping these little guys in. Because I don't think I've done a review of any of the versions of this that I own. And those guys are really awesome. So, Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back.
The system